Okay, we're going to learn Daf Yud Aleph 11. It will be taped, and I guess people will learn it from the tape. The Gemara, the Mishnah said, "Kometz v'alo b'yaratzor gargar melach." If you did kmitza and a rock or a stone or court levona or a piece of the spice came up and replaced some of the flour that should have been in your kmitza puzzle. Now, why mention all of these things? Kol hanelami, tzricha. The Tanatzor, if you only mention a rock, now, Mishum Delav Basakravu, a rock is not part of the normal ingredients of a mincha. Aval Melech the Basakravu. The din was once you put the kmitza on the mizbeach, you salted it. So salt is offered. So since a piece of salt came up, maybe emet is kosher. Maybe I would think that the mincha would be kosher. Im Tana Melach. And if we'd have only been told about salt, salt is not part of the primary ingredients of the mincha, which is flour and oil. Aval levona, the ikbibadi mincha mikar, but the spice, which is part of the mincha at the beginning, I might think that if it came up in your kmitza, it would be okay. Kamar Shalom, that it's not okay. Then they shamra koimetz achaser hayeser pasul. The kmitza that is missing something or extra has more is pasul. We're on Yud Aleph. I started already. We said that if you do kmitza and
okay, well then just let me get the page here.
Right, I'm sorry, Yud Aleph. Just a couple lines down, where the two dots are. My irya mishum chaser v'yaser. Why do you have to say that the mincha is pasul because it's either got too little or too much? Tepu klei mishum chatzitza. Why don't we say that if you had a rock in your hand when you did the kmitza, that there's a problem because there's a chatzitza between the flour and your skin? Because maybe the rock is all the way on the outside and is not separating or is not acting as a chatzitza between the flour and your skin. How do you do kmitza? Kmitza means to scoop. So when you scoop up, you go in with not your thumb, but the havamin is you went in with your hand like this to scoop something up. However, Abaya says to Rava Esvei, Zu, the little finger zeres. This finger zu kmitza. Ze ama, ze etzba, zu goydel. Now, the reason why it says this finger is the kmitza, because the kmitza only starts from here, from this finger. The little finger is excluded. El alashvois. So the little finger smooths any of the flour. You pick up the flour like this, and then you use your thumb and your little finger to smooth up whatever sticks out. Hey chiyavid, Amar Zidra Bar Tuvia Marav, Chayfa Sholosh Etzbois. You go in with your three fingers, Ach Megial Pas Yado, until the three fingers touch the palm of your hand, the koimetz, and whatever is in between is the kmitza. Taina Malachi, Malok Kumtso, Yachol Muvurat, maybe it should be heaping, Tamador Kumtso. It's just got to be the flour between the finger and his palm. What about maybe you went in just with your fingers? You go in until you touch the palm of your hand. Which are not just flour, but they're baked or fried. The extra you have to clean off with your thumb and your pinky. And is kosher. Cleaning it off with your pinky, if it's a hard, like a waffle, It's very hard, one of the hardest avodas. It actually says this is the hardest. Is that the only hard one? Vayika Malika. The Kohen killing the bird with its fingernail, when you're holding the bird with the same hand, that's also technically very difficult. Vayika Chafina. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur had to bring the Ktoires into his pan of coals. Some say he did it with his teeth. It's one of the, this is the Kmitz is one of the difficult avodas. On Rav Papa. So when we said Malokumso, it's the way people scoop things up. Boy Rav Papa, comments for Rosh it's supposed of mine. What if you didn't bring it all the way to your palm, but you just did it between the fingers? Oh, benat stadim. You went in backwards. You didn't go like this. You went in like this. Oh, mimata lamala. Or you went down into the flour and went up this way. So teku, no answer. Rav Papa. The Kohen Gadol fills his hands with ktoiris. Like this. You go in with this, like this with your hand and scoop it. So, boy Rav Papa, chafan b'rosh it's supposed to. What if you didn't dip your whole hand in there, but just the fingers, or minat studied? You went in between the thumb and your index finger. Chafan b'zu v'zu v'kirvu zu etzel zu mau. You didn't go in with both hands. You went in independently, two hands separately, and brought it together. Take. Boy Rav Papa. You're supposed to dump the kmitza into the bottom of the klisharis. What if you stuck it to the side of the kli? Toch kli, we need it in the kli v'ha'ik, and it is. No, you got to put it down in the bottom. The leka, take. Boy Mabaravashi. Havche lemane v'davke lekoimetz barisa demonamai. You turn the kli upside down and put the kometz in the bottom. He just needs to be inside vayika. It's got to be right side up. Veleka, take. Mishnah. How do you do the kmitza? Poishet dispose of pasyado. You, like we said, you scoop up the flour with your fingers until your palm. Riba shamna, if there was too much oil, or chiser shamna, you had too little, or chiser levanosa, or you reduced the amount of spice, psula. Exactly, the more wants to know hechi dami riba shamna. What do you mean you have too much? You're only supposed to have one lug. And he was magdish two lug. And then he mixed the two lug. Why not say it's just a case of extra oil that had not been miskadesh? Maybe you'll say that doesn't make the korban puzzle. It's not true. Maskif Rav Zutra Bartufia. Now, a sinner's mincha has no oil. What is an example where the minchas chote is going to become possible because you added shemen? If it was, you had designated oil for that minchas chote, halesle. You're not supposed to use any oil. Either chulin with the chaverta. If you bought chulin or another or oil from another mincha, harmet loy posal. You already said that it doesn't make it possible. Rabbi Lezer Loma boy comer. The Gemara answer is Rabbi Lezer is in a structure of not only this but this also. Loma by the chulin the chaverta the posal. If you use oil that was not miskadesh or oil of another mincha, that's clearly possible. But But if you lechatchila designated another lug extra, but they're both normally you can use it one at a time. Aimalo lifso. Maybe when you add extra oil, it shouldn't pass. Come on, that it does pass. Umanali Rabbi Lazar. Where does Rabbi Lazar get this din? He had a problem with the Mishnah. My ear to tell you, Riba Shamna. What do you mean? Its shemen was too much. Listi Riba lo shemen. And the Afagav the Hifrish law. For this mincha, he was designated two lugin. You might think it would work. It doesn't work. Then we said chiser levoinosa. If you have to have a certain amount of levona, you have not the right amount, or whatever amount of levona you started the mincha with. Now you removed some, it's not good. Torabon. Chaser vandal koret echad psulo. A koret is like a piece. And there were a lot of pieces to start with. If you had lost spice so that there's only one piece left, it's possible. But al shnei kratim ksheira. If there's two pieces left, it would be okay. Div Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon Omer, even going down to one piece, it's okay. Al koret echad ksheira. But less than a piece, pachas mitzan psula. Freiti mor vatanya. In the name of Rabbi Shimon, if you started off with the regular amount of lavona and then any amount was removed, then it's possible. Even if there's a lot of lavona left. Tani koret lavona shechisar koshu pasul. Meaning, if you end up with one piece and that piece is missing some, then that's possible. In the first parisa, where we said that it might be okay, that's levona that comes with a mincha. As long as there's some levona remaining, that's okay. But then there were korbanos that you brought just the levona. Kan levona above if neatzma. There, the parisa that said that if any part is missing, it makes it possible. Period. Sholish machloikas bedavar. It's a three-way machloikas regarding this issue if the levona was missing. Rab Meir server comments betchilah comments besof. You need the correct amount of the kmitz, the amount of levona that could be nikmats has to be there in the beginning. And it has to be there at the end. When you burn the kmitza. Rabbi Yehuda Sofer comments betchilu shnei kratim besof. You have to have the full amount in the beginning. As long as you remain with two pieces at the end, it's okay. Rabbi Shimon Sofer comments betchilu v'kort echad besof. All you need is one piece at the end. They're both, all three of them darshaned their halacha from the same pasuk. Ves kol levona asher lemincha. Reb Meir Servad the isi levona is kave bari mincha meikara. When you first bring the flour in the first kli with the levona, that's the amount that is established now as this mincha's levona. It's got to remain intact from the beginning to end. Rav Yehuda Sofer kol v'afilu chad kort. Kol implies even one piece. And S, because it says there's an extra S there, is S l'rabas kordach. You need a second piece. So that's why Rav Yehuda holds two pieces. Rav Shimon S l'darsh, this extra S, he doesn't darsh. S kol alavona. Vam Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef, Vam Rav Yechna. This machloikas, the three machloikas, is belvoina boima mincha. Is minchas that come with the levona, not levona by itself. Aval belvona above if neatzma, divra kol komets b'chilva komets b'sof. The amount that you started off with has to be remaining at the end. Lachi itzrich asher la mincha, the bahari mincha in. The levona that comes with the mincha, there, even if some levona is missing at the end, it's okay. But b'fnei atzma lo, but a levona that comes as its own korban has to be intact from the beginning to end. V'Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef v'Rav Yochanan. Machlokas b'levona ba mincha. Aber b'levona ba b'zichin. The shulchan, the lechem apanim that was on the shulchan, you had to bring 2 cups full of levona, and you put them on the lechem. That divrei kol shnei kmotzim b'tchilu shnei kmotzim b'sof. That amount of levona, what you had in the beginning, has to be here at the end. Well, pshita, even the body lechem asya. Maybe like other menachos, since it came along with the bread, it's kasher lamincha dami. It's like the other menachos. Kamash Malon no. Pligi b'Ravami Rav Yitzchak nafcha. Machlokes b'lvona boim mincha. This machlokes between Rav Yehuda and Rav Shimon, 1 particle has to remain or 2 pieces have to remain, is only levona that comes along with other menachos. Aval b'lvona ba b'fnei atzma divrei kol komitz b'chil v'komitz b'soif. You have to have all the levona there from the beginning to end. However, there is a mandamar chad amar between Rav Ami and Rav Yitzchak. That there's a machlokes between Rav and Rav Shimon, even by the voina haba be'afnei atzmo. And then the Mishnah said, chiser levonasa, if you had less of the levona that you started with, it's possible. Ho yasser kseira. From there we would medayik that if you had too much levona, it would be okay. But the Mishnah said, Vatani yasser psula. If it's only supposed to have 1 kmitz of levona and he was magdish 2, then it's possible. But if it's not a full 2 kmitz, it's less than 2, it's 1.5, that would be okay. You designated 2 kmitzas of levona for the mincha. Before you actually went in with your hand and did the kmitza, one of that amount of levona got lost. So lohukbu, the 2 kmitzas are not established as the integral part of the mincha because one of them got lost. It's what is there at the time you do the kmitza. If there's 2 there at the time you do the kmitza, that would be a problem. But here you only had 1 at the time you did the kmitza, so it's okay. But if you started off with whatever you started off with, and then you did the kmitza, and then some of the levona got lost. Even if you started off with 2 kmitzas, so the 2 kmitzas were hukba in that kli, and now because you did the kmitza, when it had 2, it's too much. It fulfills our Mishnah's criteria when it's possible, and it's possible. Rabbi Rechama. Hifrish arba kmatz l'shnei b'zichin. For the lechem aponim, you had two spoons or 2 cups. You're supposed to put one kmitz of levona in one and 1 kmitz of levona in the other. Let's say you put 2 and 2, so you have 4. V'avdu shnai mehem kodim silik b'zichin. And the extra 1 in each cup, so you only have 1 in each now. When you went to do the kmitza, then lo hukbu, the lechem aponim is still okay because you have the proper amount of levona. However, if you did the kmitza, or by the lechem aponim, the kmitza is by removing those cups and taking them over the mizbech and burning them. If they became deficient after you remove the cups, then hukbu, and now the lechem aponim is possible. Where's this hasu lamali? Well, why isn't that the same case as what we learned before? Hainu hach. No. Kiven debor karmitz dida. Kiven she gives mana leporko. Once it's the time to remove those bazichin from the shulchan, it's commanded brikadami. Perhaps we view it as if it's been removed all the time. Kamash malon that no. Until you mamish remove it, it still allows that lechem aponim to be kosher. Okay, I'm going to stop here because we have a huge Mishnah I'd rather you learn the Mishnah as one piece, which we'll do tomorrow night at 7.
Okay, Ernie, shkoyach. See you later.
Arthur will see you later.
See you later. Shkoyach.